to Baba and Emaya Baga, Babylon. Really, really plenty cries about the country and the economy and everything, what's happening.
Yeah. Anyway, so talking about the economy, there's one thing I know I can sense Nigerians who are listening to this program want to know. This issue of I'll try and put them all at once into one, the CBN policies. These are dollar policy, whether it's floating or it's not floating. Devandi is a stockbroking firm and also Bureau de Change. What effect does each time the CBN comes out with something, the dollar drops further? So what are we doing the right thing in terms of our foreign exchange policies?
Well, thank you very much. I think you may not blame the CBN that much because what they're doing now is crisis management. The situation has overwhelmed them, and the situation is so bad. Like I mentioned earlier, the inflow of revenue dollar has reduced, and there is a lot of demand for this same dollar. Demand both genuine and not genuine. And the demand from even people who want to launder their naira and take it abroad and so on. So all these are pressures on the currency. I mean, if you find yourself in this kind of situation, there's no other option that the thing falling. What they are trying to do is changing from one policy to the other.
Yeah, the flip-flop.
Yeah, it's a trial and error, that kind of thing. At a time like this, you just have to try. Don't forget that that is the responsibility of the central bank, and it's even gone beyond the central bank because the monetary policy committee has actually even moved into it. But it's not still as simple as that. Like I said, people fail to realize that this country, this economy has really gone very, very down.
But sir, shouldn't there be concise, precise ways to bring the country out of the quagmire we're in instead of jumping from...
Okay, let me say this.
Okay.
It's like you as an individual, when things have really gone bad in your life, when it has gone very, very bad, you cannot just overnight turn the situation. You must try one thing or the other. In fact, for an individual, it is possible to even change automatically or immediately. But for an economy, a vast economy like Nigeria, is not that easy because there are other there are other factors that are coming in, both in known and unknown,
Sorry, sir.
which are affecting the economy. I'm not just speaking for the central bank, but I believe that they are overwhelmed by the circumstance and they're working very, very hard. Remember, recently they even removed allocation to Bureau de Change. After some time, they brought them back. They're just confused. They are confused, but I believe that something is on the offing, and that within the next 3 months, for me, I see that totality of all this juggling, by the end of this year will be somewhere.
Okay, sir.
But don't also forget that no matter what they do, when there is no increase in the supply of dollar, there will still be problem. Because anything they are doing, any policy they are putting in place is predicated on the adequate supply of dollar. Otherwise, it's nothing. Once the demand still,
outweighs
there's
supply.
nothing.
Sir, the president had said on his campaign that he was going to bring the dollar to 1 naira. Sir, with what you're saying, this sounds impossible.
I don't think the president would have made that statement. When people are on the political trend, please mind what you gather from them. The president is knowledgeable enough to know that there is no way he can move naira to.
So I'd like to move you away from let's move away from the political aspect of the economy to still the economy, but actually directly how it affects us, the lay people, us the common man and woman on the street. In these times, in this period, what do you advise that we do? How can we do it? What kind of measures can we adopt? What can the average Nigerian or cross-Nigerian do to help, in this kind of times? Because right now, everything is expensive. One can barely afford the money that one needs to do things that one needs to
Taxation
do.
is high.
Everything is just so high.
This is indeed a challenging time, and at a time like this, people think. This is the time that people develop ideas, and you know ideas rule the world. We've now gotten to a level of knowing that individuals don't need to be dependent on government or bigger organizations. You can think, there are a lot, and I personally appreciate it because a lot of young boys and girls now flood our offices with ideas which are really plausible. And if whatever ideas they bring about are being followed up to implementation, you develop the idea towards implementation, then the country would be better off because you now have a proliferation of small and medium scale enterprises, people that are independent, working for themselves and employing others and so on. Because the end of this can lead us to that, and it will be better for the country. Because prior to this time, every person, I think, would I say, I think 50% might be too much. 60% of the people in this country were looking up to color work, either working for government or working for a bank or working for oil company and so on. Whereas you can start something and become much, much better than somebody who works for an oil company.
Okay, so we have to open our phone lines now, maybe one or two calls and go
Before
to
we do
social
that,
media.
let's just quickly take some tweets. Joseph Ayo says, okay, you've already started doing that. He's asking for solutions rather than the causes, but I'm sure he's listening and he can hear that now. Favored by God at Paul Okayim says, one of the major problems of our economy is putting square pegs in round holes. We need technocrats to manage it. And then he says, when making appointments into key sectors, we must learn to look beyond party lines and get the best of the best. So talking about putting technocrats, maybe economists in charge of the economy.
I agree with that view completely because that is the thing that is destroying this country. People appoint very unsuitable persons into position. At the end of it, they would not achieve the desired goal. That's all. That's
Okay, so let's go to our phone lines.
BreakFastShow, Hit FM. Good morning. Tony, talk to us. You have 1 minute.
Focus more on building refineries and then we refine our product here, we cut that side of it. And then we talk about production because Nigeria has a thing in order to balance the exchange rate the way it is right now. And I think somebody that is just coming up, there are a lot of ideas. Somebody who produce a changeover, automatic changeover, like 3 for inverter, NEPA, and then generator. And then you look at packaging. You won't just start coming up and then you start bringing those machines to mold your package. I think there has to be a place where I will have my lot of design, things I've manufactured, and there's no package for it. So if there's a company or something, a body, where I go and then
hurry, please.
mold that and then make this thing work, and then we start producing so many things. There are a lot of ideas here.
I think what the guy is trying to say is talking about the fact that government should limit itself to regulation and allow the sector, the private sector, to be handled by different people. I think that is the way out and so on. You remember I had mentioned informally about even government trying to set up legacy projects and so on. Legacy project is meaningless in the sense that whatever fund is put in there is tied down. Funds that could have been used to open roads, infrastructure, and so on for other kinds of private sector to thrive. Because, like mentioned by that gentleman, if we have the right atmosphere, if we have the right environment and so on, business will flow.
Hello?
Hello, good morning, Dr. Groove.
Yeah, good morning, my brother. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Okay, I'm Carlos Zakbet. I'm calling from Asama.
Carlos, okay, you have 1 minute. Please talk to us.
Dr. Ukay in the studio.
It's okay. My contribution is this. Rather than try and seek error in the CBN. I used to know there's something like comparative economy. I mean, where you can borrow from another country that has the same challenge, and you try to see how they overcome those challenges and apply them here in our country.
Okay.
Then secondly, I would love to ask the CEO of Davandi Finance what little measure he has put in place to help growing entrepreneurs in the States who are coming up. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Could just quickly respond to that, then we'll go into Facebook.
Yeah, thank you very much. Well, let me start from the last. In terms of trying to produce entrepreneurs, I think I've done that. We've done that even through our various outfits and so on. And don't forget, of recent we unveiled the Asukwa Ekpeyon Foundation. The Asukwa Ekpeyon Foundation, one of the primary objectives is, growing the young entrepreneurs and so on. And I think if you stop by the foundation office, you will see a lot of young men which are being helped in different areas and so on. And where they succeed in whatever they do, we try to back them up with finance. We source some finance to enable them get on. Yeah.
He was talking about the comparative economy.
The comparative economy is a long-term issue. The country is facing real crisis now, and something has to be done. It has to be done. Comparative economy is all right, but you don't compare in terms of foreign exchange. Comparative economy does not come into play because you can only work with what you have. You want to talk about comparison with the other economies that have foreign exchange, or maybe they have adequate reserve of foreign exchange, and we are saying here that we don't have. If you want to talk about other countries, what we are lacking, which you may be correct, you are correct indeed. In other countries where they had gotten this opportunity in the past to have enough foreign exchange, they had invested outside their nation. Take for instance Dubai and the various oil companies in the Middle East. They invest massively in Europe and so on. And during lean time, they now fall back on their investment. But what is happening in Nigeria is that we never grow our investment, even in Thailand, even our reserve, rather than growing, has been depleting, and so on. You can imagine even when Obasanjo came in and set up the
Sovereign Wealth Fund.
Sovereign Wealth Fund aside, but this excess crude
all accounts.
Before the same regime ended, they depleted the whole thing, shared among themselves.
Okay, so let's quickly go on to Facebook, find out what perseverance are saying. Nigerians are saying on Facebook. Job Ekpe says, what can the government do to fix the economy right? Then he also says, can the bad state of the economy be attributed to the economic policy of this administration? If yes, what would be your advice to the economic policy makers? So let's still go on. It says, Joseph Isek says, the government is trying, but they can do better. The government should try new policies. Now, this is rather lengthy, but I'll take it because I think it's important. And Sai Kang says, Nigeria should ban anything and everything we can possibly produce or do without. 2, we should build functional refineries and employ indigenous resource personnel with few experts or pupil engineers to be attached to them for technological transfer. He goes further to say repatriation of looted funds and confiscation of properties of corrupt public officers should be done. Then outright sale of foreign confiscated properties through BPE, and such money is used for building manufacturing companies to harness our unexploited natural endowments, thereby creating employment and reducing urban and foreign migration. The National Assembly should enact a law that would make any public officer who after tenure of office is found to be corrupt to lose all his lifelong properties to the state. Then he says the government is trying, but their anti-corruption crusade is parochial. Most drivers of present administration are fantastically corrupt. Those who must come to equity must come with clean hands. If not, they sow seeds of discord which may boomerang one day. It's teaching time, saves 2019.
I think the most important statement in all that is the fact that we should make do with what we can produce. I tell you one thing, when I got first time to India in 1982, I was surprised that Nigeria appeared to be advanced of India. And so many things we had here, like we had a color television and so on, but then they were still using black and white. They didn't have any better car than what they could produce. And so I asked them, what was all that about? And they told us that the major policy in India then, I don't know now, is the fact that they don't consume, they don't use what they cannot produce. That can be done in Nigeria. People know, people have been saying it, but the willingness, the courage, the political will to do that is what is lacking in this. And that's why I started by saying that we know all these things. All that the guy had listed there is something that is known to government. That is something that is known to all of us. But who will bear the card? Who will bring it into reality? That is what we are lacking.
Okay, sir, going further, Akanimo Akpabio says, good morning, Dr. Groove and UK. Well, what I will say is that the current administration has failed us. This is not what they promised us. Are they going to fight corruption when we are suffering? The price of everything has gone up. People are dying every day. The right people and right measures should be put in place, and all those old legs should be removed. They are taking us backwards. Finton Osamu finally says, the dollar stuff is really an issue. They should find a solution for producing most of the goods here than importing. In that way, it won't have an effect on our currency. Exactly what you said.
I also agree with all that, except that I will not accept that the current federal government has failed us. I know that they came in to meet a lot of problems in the economy, and it's something that you cannot fix overnight.
Okay, so there's so much that we could talk about because I even haven't started asking you about there's no real policy by this administration concerning manufacturing and industry. There is nothing because even the agriculture that they are talking about, it seems something that is in the air. There is no real, sir, because for example, yam is a one-year-round product. If somebody makes an effort to say we want to produce this amount of yams by next year, there will be a definite procedure. So there's a whole lot that we need to talk about the economy. We hope you can come again, sir. By the way, we hear your foundation is going to be visiting some IDPs in Bakassi next week. So we hope we'll be able to have you back next week to come and talk about this. And then we can delve into other issues concerning the economy. Thank you very much for spending your time, sir.
Thank you. Read on the Hit Breakfast Show. So here's what's going to happen. We've had a very, very interesting session today. Many people have been calling to say they want a repeat of what's happened. So if you want to, you missed the interview, or you know friends who have missed the interview, just go onto YouTube, Hit FM Calabar, that's our page on YouTube, and then you can just watch a video of what has just been aired here live today. This is where we draw the curtains on the Hit Breakfast Show for this morning. We had the very distinguished elder Dr. Ukay, OON, here in the studio with us. Thank you very much for coming, sir. And tomorrow we'll be back with another interesting and riveted topic. Don't forget, if you won on the show, I could get GT Foods Plus. Oh, we didn't give away. Okay. The last person who commented on Facebook with the longest comment, that's a young man who talked about buying Niger, not importing. Come to the station at 9 a.m. this morning and come get a coupon to GT Foods Plus lunch courtesy the Hit Breakfast Show.
Okay, thank you very much. Like UK has said, we're going to catch you up again same time tomorrow, where we get another reverting edition of this program. And it's been a privilege having Elder Dr. Ukay in the studio. Thank you very much once again, sir, for coming. All our listeners, well, seems to be some hope around the corner if we believe the economists, but Nigerians are still suffering. Just hang on in there. It will get better.
Thank you.
Man, South,
Thank you very much.
So I want to the Hit Breakfast Show on 95.9 Hit FM with Dr.